After 6 weeks of silence, we finally got a big and exciting CS2 update with many great things to cover. So let's talk about it right after Skin Baron. Skin Baron is a skins marketplace that allows you to buy and sell skins for real money, which won't be stuck to your Steam account. Speaking of Steam, it's 30% cheaper to use Skin Baron compared to the Steam market, and there are a million skins to browse. Front page offers quick suggestions, but you also have neat categories at the top with previews of each skin for each weapon, including filter options. Selling skins here is easy, and instead of the Steam market, you get, as I said, actual money, and it goes directly to your bank account. Make sure you click the link below to explore Skin Baron's marketplace, the sponsor of this video. We are so back, or Valve is at least, after being on vacation and returning with a good juicy update. The first section is view models, starting with changes made to Bob. Here's a comparison of the old versus the new on the right. I tried my best to dance around as if I'm doing the budget cha-cha slide so you get an idea of what the difference is. The summary is that they've lowered the Bob settings down to the lowest value. This was the go-to for me in CSGO at least, where I dialed them down as well, so to be honest, this is the Bob I wanted all along. I like these changes, but the big surprise for this update is of course being able to switch to left hand. It took so long for this feature to arrive that I didn't even believe we were going to get it. Now the first question on everyone's mind is of course, does it affect the model? The answer is no. The shadow and the model stays the same. You don't actually switch hands. It's just an illusion, which is probably the best approach to avoid a multitude of problems. The second thing that is on everyone's mind is if anything changed with the behavior, and the answer is yes. Changing hands will now behave as a weapon switch. This means that you can't shoot in between switching hands. Now this completely changes how this was originally used. Valve probably wanted some kind of middle ground for re-adding left-hand support, and this was their way of doing it, but we did get it in the end, so even if you're not a vivid hand switcher, you at least have left hand now. Also, this update seems to point to the fact that you're now going to see other people's view model and hand position, just like being able to see other people's crosshair. We also say goodbye to the couch view model setting since it's gone now, and that was the view model section of this update. Next up, we have the HUD. There's a new built-in setting to allow zoom toggle for the radar now. In the past, this has always been a script. This next HUD update is awesome. Shows your goofy little ghost in the radar as you're spectating the map and flying around. It's actually quite useful for new maps to find yourself a little bit better. We then have another built-in setting that also used to be a script. You'll get these new lines to help you find nerdy lineups. Yes, this is part of today's updates. It's built into the game and it also works in competitive mode. All you need to do is hold down mouse 1 and it will appear after 2 seconds. You can change these seconds for each nade through the dedicated category under the game section. This is honestly really cool stuff and the details are nice with the numbers. This update also changed so when you look at weapons on the ground, you'll see the weapon's name. This makes it less confusing for noobs. We also have a new escape menu design which opens up the scoreboard, perfect for vote kicking players when you forget their names. We have new bot icons, and speaking of icons, we have a new kill feed icon for in-air kills. This means that there's a new speedrun available for the longest kill feed possible. Next section is the buy menu, where we now see a new dropped section showing all the dropped weapons, where you can also click on the weapon you dropped to get it back, which is super slick. And finally, they've added this money info on the top. Next up, we get to the gameplay section, which is specifically changes made to weapons. These are not big changes, but the Zeus got a buff with its movement increased to 130. You can see on the right the new movement speed. It also got a kill reward to further boost the idea of actually using it for reals. The CZ also happened to get its kill reward back to 300 again, so it gets the old JW approval. And they reduced the reward for auto shotguns from 900 down to 600, which to me is the most surprising change here. We then get to the inventory related update notes. You guys already know I'm not the guy for this, but I guess based on the patch note that speaks for itself, we can see the actual wear category of the weapons here. I never knew that this was missing. Next up, map changes, and a big change to the map pool. Inferno has had a lot of backlash, and so it got a serious treatment today for having too much tall buildings. You can see now that middle is completely open. I have to say middle looks different, almost empty, but in a good way. It will definitely be interesting to see if more people are willing to give Inferno a second chance, just from this change alone. The other big change on this map is the removal of this, finally. There's also the usual map tweaks to improve collision, etc. on other maps, but now let's focus on the map pool change. Overpass is saying goodbye, as we are welcoming back Dust 2 for the second time. I speak for everyone when I say that we did not expect changes to these two maps specifically, but Dust 2 makes sense. is. Counter-Strike isn't Counter-Strike without Dust 2, and with Counter-Strike 2, it needs its golden goose. I've also seen speculation that China has their own version of Dust 2 and their own Counter-Strike-ish game known as Crossfire, and with the next CS2 major being in China, reintroducing Dust 2 is effectively going to make Valve a lot of money. But going back to Overpass, if you ask me, it wasn't much of a sacrifice, but for Valve it sure seems like it was. They did remake the entire map for CS2, it's just surprising to see. And we still have untouched maps such as Vertigo that still live to see another day. But these changes can also be clues for the future. It tells me at least that Train and other maps aren't ready, and probably won't be for a couple more months. The map pool in CSGO didn't change that often, so this gives Valve enough time to work on those maps without feeling the pressure, and for other community creators to introduce their own competitive maps. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is the one that we will be using until the major in China. Finally, the miscellaneous section of the update sneaked some absolute bangers. When watching demos, we can now move the camera while the game is paused, which was super annoying that it didn't work in the past, so that is a great update. They also finally added the ability to launch practice matches and workshop maps with party members. This to me is one of the bigger ones for this update. It was a long-awaited request and a welcome fix, certainly more important than left-hand support, sorry. And right below is a patch note saying that they added the Overwatch system to enable match demo reviews by trusted partners. Part of Valve's response to the cheating problem, and who knows what they're doing in the background to add to this. It's not a clear cut, the cheating problem is fixed, of course, but it's a promising direction. This update also put the major sticker capsules on sale, and they also added the ability to adjust brightness in windowed mode. Overall, this was an amazing update. Please comment down below with what you think, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.